Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham. Welcome to this special midweek Currie Cup betting preview. Yes, we got 3 live matches on Wednesday. Don't think I'm going to be able to watch many of them, but I know one man who's going to be getting seriously involved from a betting perspective, and that's the conductor himself, Brendan Wessels. Conductor, welcome to the Currie Cup show, mate. Looking forward to chatting with you.
Thanks, Brent. That's a bit of a stitch up of an intro. Geez, I was actually looking to not getting too heavily involved in these games, but no pressure from your side there, I see. But Brenty, yeah, thanks, man. Always lucky to join you. It's a beautiful day here in the capital, Pretoria. So, which means it's a good start for the Bulls game later. But so look, it's always lovely to have Wednesday Currie Cup games just to break up the week a bit. Look, I'll be honest. I think we need to just be careful with these games. Obviously a lot of changes, things like that. I think the main aim from my side is just to smash and grab a little bit of profits to head into the weekend, to have a little bit more ammo and powder for the Six Nations games. Let's not go silly and lose money when we've got a lot of rugby on the weekend. I think we've got about 22 games on the weekend. So let's try and navigate these Currie Cup games and see if we can find a bit of profits.
Excellent. Yeah, looking forward to going through that. It was a pretty good weekend for me. The best bet in the newsletter hit, which was a sale minus 2.5. I didn't watch the game, and I was looking at all the tweets going, oh, well, that bet's gone. And I couldn't believe it when I checked my account. So great on yourself and Neil for picking that out on the show last week. Just a reminder, the handicap live Thursday night, 9 o'clock. And down below this broadcast, you can get a link to the newsletter, which goes out on Friday. Don't miss out on that. But let's get straight into the action here, Brendan. And I've got Tafellager Park in the background. I can tell you there's a nice dry field and a blue sky. I'm sure that we're looking for something like that today. We got Griquas plus 5.5 against the Pumas.
Yeah, Brent, it's a tough one. Hey, I mean, like we sort of said, the Pumas had a bit of a tough game against the Bulls, and we said on the show that that Pumas game against the Lions, they bounced back and they did in spectacular form, and they absolutely trounced the Lions. The Lions looked absolutely nowhere. There again, this is a tough one. Griquas at home generally are much more competitive. Griquas just unfortunately haven't had the luck with injuries, missing 2 key players in Stephen Ungra and George Whitehead at 9 and 10, missing JC Null, which is a bit of a bad loss for them. Obviously, they've had to rotate a couple more guys due to injuries this week. And the Pumas are slightly actually strengthened from their last game against the Lions. They've brought in Jade Stichling at left wing, and Eddie Fisher returns from injury on the bench. Man, this is a hell of a tough call. I was always wanted to back Griquas in Kimberley. They are absolutely nuggety. It's tough to go against this Pumas side. They just look far more, look far better with the current crop of players they've got versus the Griquas injuries. I see some of the guys. My initial feeling was Pumas on the minus, but I don't know. I just Griquas at home is so nuggety. I probably will leave this alone in terms of handicap. I like to look at the points line. The reason being, I just don't know how many points the Griquas are going to contribute to the game, and they've got Neil Otto and Ron Steenkamp to actually disrupt it at breakdown time. I think this could be a very messy affair. Even though it's a 3:30 kickoff in Kimberley, you would expect it to be points galore. But we've seen in previous games in Kimberley, it can actually be quite low scoring because it can be quite messy. Contributing to my unders thoughts would be Amy Barrett to Ron on the whistle. If it's a silly line in Kimberley, if we look at 62, 63, I'd probably look at unders there. If pushed on the handicap, I'd probably look at the Griquas plus 5.5. I think they'll fight for every yard. They'll be desperate to get a win on the board. Yeah. I think the Pumas will win, but I may not just cover the handicap.
Yeah, just first of all, apologies for the generator noise in the background. We've had no power since 2 a.m. this morning. The good news is I think we're load shedding at the moment as well. The nice thing for us is we can never tell which it is because we do have no power either way. But anyways, just looking at this one, yeah, I'm slightly leaning towards the Pumas. I like your thoughts on the unders there. These sides met in the last playoff game last season. I think it finished 13-all. And it was a game where I remember quite a few of us were on the unders. I think we're going to get a quote probably in the early 60s here. And it may well be worth an unders play. It had a nice unders double on the weekend's games. I'm kind of in the unders takers frame of mind at the moment. But that's the Griquas up against the Pumas. It is also a preview on the Good for the Game website. Let's go on to the next game. This is taking place on your doorstep, Brendan. Bulls minus 6.5 against the Cheetahs. I'll tell you straight up, I saw Thoughts on Sports posted on the Good for the Game forum. He likes the Cheetahs plus, and he's striking them on the board as well.
Yeah, Brent, actually, funny enough, I had this game as probably, when I priced it up in my head, I probably had it about choice or Cheetahs plus 1.5. But obviously, it was always going to be dependent on team news, etc. Cheetahs have a lot of experience on that side. Guys like Ruan Pienaar, Frans Steyn, you got Robert Eberson on the bench. There just are a couple of red flags for me for that Cheetahs side. Masuku at 10 and Aiden Davis is normally a flank he's at lock. Reino Bernardo, he's pulled out with a shoulder injury. So experienced Cheetahs side. On the other hand, I mean, I've seen articles come out of, from Jake White and out of the Blue Bulls camp. They're taking the Currie Cup incredibly seriously. They want to win it. This is probably a game that Bulls can afford to not put such a big effort in. I mean, I think they're topping the charts at 10 points there. This is incredibly tough for me to call. So many red flags here. Like I said, I was initially leading Cheetahs just because they have a far more settled side. Bulls are obviously chopping and changing between URC and Currie Cup side. So I'd probably lean towards joining you boys on the plus. And the points line will be interesting. Paul Mente as referee, I find him quite, he likes to try and boss the game with the whistle. I find his interpretations sometimes a bit strange. So it can affect the points lines in one or two ways. And we can either see a big overs game or a very disrupted game. I'm probably leaning towards the latter. But yeah, I'd probably, like I said, this is to me I'll probably look for something in play. It's not something I'm going to take a big strike on outright. And I mean, yes, I see you guys are on the Cheetahs, and I think that's not a bad move. For me, tendency probably Cheetahs plus, and I'd like to see Cheetahs points. The reason for the Cheetahs points is just having a guy like Frans Steyn there. For me, I don't see the Cheetahs really mucking around too much in terms of trying to take lineouts when they've got the 3 on offer. I think anywhere from 60 meters in, I see Frans Steyn lining us up for 3. So if I can get a points line of about 23.5 on the Cheetahs, I'd probably look at something like that for the overs. And hopefully the Paul Mente is a bit whistle happy and does award the Cheetahs a couple of penalties. And the other thinking towards penalties overs for Cheetahs or points overs for Cheetahs, Gideon van der Merwe at the breakdown is an absolute jackal. I see him getting a lot of turnover ball. He's actually ferocious in the dark arts there, getting his head stuck in dark places. So I expect him to be getting a lot of turnover ball. So I think the Cheetahs could earn a couple of penalties. And like I said, Frans Steyn is normally quite accurate. Perfect day here in Pretoria. Not a breath of wind. So yeah, I think Cheetahs overs or Cheetahs plus should be good there.
And I've just realized I've been speaking muted for the last 30 seconds there, Brendan. So anyway, just to go back, you saw the Manscaped graphic there. There is a link down below. You can use the GFTG thread. And unfortunately, with the generator noise, I've been muting myself. But yeah, I'm quite firm on the Cheetahs here. But midweek Currie Cup, I kind of share your sentiments. It's not the time. It's a time to try and build a bit of a profit for the weekend, but it's not the time to go and give everything away and go into the weekend under pressure. So 100% with you there. Let's go on to the next game. It is Sharks minus 8.5 against Western Province. Brendan, the money's come here for the Sharks. It was generally minus 6.5, and I see this has gone up. I'll tell you straight up, I just did the good preview on Good for the Game this morning. I'm swimming against the tide a bit here. I think Province could beat this handicap. What are your feelings?
Yeah, Brent, when the team initially came out, when the Sharks team initially came out, I took a small strike on minus 5.5. I just know that the Sharks' depth for me is slightly stronger than the Western Province depth at the moment. They've named quite a strong side, with guys like Kerwin Bosch, and you can have a guy like Snelle Nohamba on the bench. That's quite nice. I think there's enough experience in that back line, with Vanderkok, Marius Lowe. I mean, there's a Pepsi Buthelezi. He's coming back from injury, so it's great to see him back. I think this is quite a strong Shark side, and not a bad Province side, but just for me, a touch weaker. But yeah, I mean, Mainhuisen, he's shown that he's definitely up for the challenge in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, not for me a stronger side. But Tim Sweel should be able to steady the ship for Province. For me, this is going to be, if we're going to take a big bet, this is for me the bet we're going to look at. If we can, if we can hopefully, we're going to keep our eyes peeled and our eyes on those points lines, because let's all pray we get something in the high 50s, early 60s, and we're gonna take a massive unders there. It's it's basically, let's call it late January. I mean, I know it's February, but really it's January in Durban. Incredibly muggy, incredibly humid. They're predicting 80% humidity in Durban tonight at the 8 o'clock kickoff. I expect the ball to be an absolute piece of soap. It's going to be difficult handling. I see even Jerome Parvater, the Western Province coach, he came out and said, look, they expect a massive kicking game from the Sharks. And that's exactly what we expect from Kerwin Bosch. And similarly from Tim Sweel, I expect him to put the ball up. This to me, if we can get anything over 55.5, I'll be going unders. Griffin Colby also can be a little bit whistle happy. So I expect a lot of penalties, difficult conditions in Durban. The ball's not going to fly. Any right there be at 15 for the Sharks. I just don't know how solid he's going to be under the high balls, but I expect a lot of drop balls from both teams this afternoon. So expect a stop-start. So if we can, this is the one we're going to look out for. If we can get a decent points line here, big strike on the unders. But the only disappointing thing is they stagger the release of the points line. So if they release all the points lines at the same time, I'd probably be looking at a lower overs in Pretoria combined with a higher unders in Durban. So if we could have looked at maybe something like a over 51.5 in Pretoria and under 63.5 in Durban, that would have been great. But nevertheless, unders in Durban to me is the way to go.
Muted again. Thanks, Brendan. If you're looking at your best bets, Brendan, for the thing, you this is probably where you're leaning. You're waiting for that points line, and obviously it's quite dependent. If they come out at 48.5, you won't be having a strike. But anything between 55 and 60, you'll be having a go.
Massive go there, Brent. And that's my big play. And then similarly, like I said, if we can get a very enticing Cheetahs points line, I'll definitely be looking over there. I think they're going to be desperate for the win. I really see them running the ball. The Bulls' defense to me is not that crack. They do tend to leak some tries. So I enjoy the Cheetahs overs and a big unders play in Durban. But like you said, and like I said at the start of the show, let's not get silly. Let's build a nice pot for the weekend. And don't want to be heading into the weekend having to bet on table tennis and all that kind of jazz to make up for Wednesday Currie Cup failures.
Yes. I saw a tweet saying how much money is wagered on table tennis. I was quite shocked. You saw that one, obviously. That's unbelievable. But anyway, listen, man, enjoy the rest of your day, Brendan. Great, of course, to have you on. And remember to tune in to the Handicap, our flagship rugby betting show, live Thursday nights at 2100. We've got 6 nations to talk about. So subscribe now and hit the bell. Thanks very much to the Conductor, and we'll catch you on the weekend.